Hey guys, it's Melanie from Evolve Accounting. Here it is June 21st, and I'm starting to think about year end already. So one of the things that is dreaded every year end is 1099s and collecting information from clients. So my suggestion is let's go ahead and look at this first half of the year and see who needs a W-9 filled out. And then going forward, set a reminder on your calendar for on a monthly basis to tell yourself to double check and see if there's anybody else. So then, when you get your email from me saying that it's time to start working on these 1099s, you get to sit back and say, I got this. So one of the things we want to focus on is when we set up a vendor is getting their information into the system. So if you're on QBO, which if you're my client, odds are you are, we're going to click on this expenses button. You'll see at the top there is a listing called vendors that we can click on. And that will give you a list of all your vendors that are in your system. You can see some of these have information and email addresses and that sort of thing already in the system. So we're going to look at this Books by Betsy and take a look and see what all's in there. So right now we've got the company name and awesome, the company address. It looks like we also have a phone number and an email address. So we are going to click on this edit button. As you scroll down, you'll see this business ID number. This is once you get that 1099 filled out and have their federal ID number, or if it's a sole proprietor, possibly their social security number. So you'd put that information in the system. So I'm going to make up a number. And then I'm also going to take and click this checkbox. To click to say, yes, I want to track this company for 1099s. Some other things you want, while you're in here, you want to make sure you have is obviously in order to send a 1099 to a client, because most of them are still mailed, we want to make sure this address information is in here. But if you do have the client's email, go ahead and add that also, because there are some service providers that allow you to email those 1099s with your clients, with the vendor's permission. A later newsletter will actually be a template of an email to send out to your clients getting that permission to email that information to the vendor. So then we're going to click the Save button. So what do we do with this information? One thing to start with is running a transaction report by vendor. So we're going to go over to this report button. And at the top, where in the search bar, I want you to type in 1099, and you'll see 3 reports show up. We really want this 1099 transaction detail report. So the first thing we're going to want to change is we want the current year. So we're going to change that to this year. The second thing we want to change is 1099s are on a cash basis. So we want to switch that out and pull that cash report. So we're going to click Run Reports. As you'll see right now, we don't have anybody who shows up in this report. And that's due to the standard settings in the report don't have it that none are showing. So we're going to go in to this Customize button at the top and scroll down to the filters. The one we want to get rid of right now so we can actually see what's there, if you've done all the information and gone through your 1099s, you can save this and your information will show up. I find it more important to get a report so I can go through and show everybody that I've sent money to, and I can manually check off and say, no, that person doesn't need one. So I'm going to change this into payment type of all. And then I'm going to click the green button at the bottom that says Run Report. So you'll see right there amounts, all your vendors for this year that are coming through. and it shows with your total and your amount over to the side. So this is a good starting point. So now everybody who's over $600, we want to look at and go, is this a person I need to get a W-9 filled out for? So the first person we have is an insurance company. Insurance is technically not a service. It is, but it's one of those little weird gray areas that we don't need to issue a 1099 for, mainly because most insurance companies are going to become corporations. And if it's a C Corp, it's not required to get a 1099. So we don't need to do that. But if Books by Bessie, if we had sent her $600, we're going to need to issue a 1099 to her, and we're going to need to get a W-9 filled out for that information. So your homework is to run this transaction detail report. Again, this is a first step. We're still going to, over the next couple months, go through and tailor this and make sure we're not missing anybody when we get to year end. So again, your homework is to go in, run this transaction detail report, and make a list of vendors that you have issued paid over $600 year to date, and go ahead and get them to fill out that W-9. It's easier to have the information now than try to get it later. I would also suggest that anybody who comes and does work for you, as you're handing them their check, have them fill out that W-9, and then hand them the check. Just makes it easier. People are much more willing to fill it out if you have it right in front of them. If they're not willing to give you the information, there are rules out there that the IRS allows you to do withholdings from the amount that you're going to pay them. It is your responsibility to get this information, and the penalty will be on your business if you don't have all your 1099s issued correctly. So that's 1099s in a nutshell. Get that homework done and let us know that you've done it. Great job. I will see you shortly.